Where are you based out of, Abby?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You guys okay over there?
Yeah, we're doing well.
Good.
We're doing well.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. My name is Mary Ann. Some of you may know me. My name is Mary Ann Monteleone, Director of Education, and I'd like to welcome you on this beautiful Monday morning, June 1st. We have a very, very special guest with us today. His name is Abhi Golhar. Excuse me for reading this, but I don't want to miss anything. Um, Abhi is a three-time nationally syndicated radio show host, entrepreneur, and investor who combines his love for building wealth and his passion for education and all things media. His favorite activity is buying rental real estate and ordering a grande iced, no espresso Americano. He is also the host of the Think Reality podcast. So please help me welcome the most talented face on radio, Abhi Golhar.
Marianne, thank you so much for having me. You know, what's funny is the first time that I had that Starbucks order, it was the best time in my life.
Yeah.
And I just remember laughing so hard with the barista when ordering this because a no espresso Americano is nothing more than just an ice water.
Okay. See how you can be fooled easily. All right.
Yes, that's right. So if you ever want to play a prank on your local barista, that's what you order.
Okay.
All right.
Um, we'll be here and good luck. Thank you for being
Awesome.
with us.
Well, I'm really excited about this presentation because you talk about a world in which technology really can help everybody grow and scale their business. Whether you're jumping into leads, whether you're doing all this stuff, whether you've got leads coming in, you've got activity to do, you've got paperwork to fill out, and sometimes, you know, it could be like my hair, right? It's you're just going to go gray prematurely, and it can get a little kind of crazy. And so the presentation today is all about technology. It's all about how you can leverage technology to really enhance your business. And my background is in just that. I love investing in real estate. I love my local realtors that do such a wonderful job to help me do that, to make really smart decisions. But then I'm able to really find more opportunity by using technology and some of the small little things you can do to leverage your time, because I'm a big believer in that we have to build a business and not a job. And many of us get into this line of work thinking, okay, we're going to build a team and we're going to do this and we're going to have all the right tech. But then 40, 50, 60 years later, we end up building a job for ourselves, not a business. And one of the first steps that we can take is to build out the right kind of technology and really understand what technology can do for us. And feel free to ask any questions in the chat box in this Zoom presentation. If you have any questions anytime, feel free to interrupt me. I love the interaction back and forth. If you want to raise your hand, you can do that as well. If you feel like unmuting yourself and you want to yell at me about something, hey, great, let's do it. I know y'all are New Yorkers, and I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan, and I think I know how to yell too. So we'll make that happen. Let's dive right in. So one of the things that I feel is a really big challenge for realtors and real estate agents around the country is distraction. There's so many things that we have to do on a daily basis, right? Every single day. I mean, you know, you've got to check the tweets, or you got to see what's happening on Twitter, right? Like that's super important. You got to check that. And then you have your emails, then Instagram, then you have your sellers, you have your buyers, and you know, you have like a couple different types of sellers, right? You have your sellers that will check mark all the boxes and do all the things you need them to do. And then you have those kind of sellers and those kind of buyers that are like me, right? Your total diva type buyers and sellers that will say, all right, I want a blue bowl with blue M&Ms with the M side face up because I went to Michigan, and that's what I want before we start even talking about my property or driving around to look at listings. And that's a big distraction. So how do we even start the conversation of leveraging our business if we can't really get out of the minutia every single day? And I think what we have to really understand is if we don't innovate now, if real estate agents, if y'all don't innovate right now, the world's going to pass you by, and you're just going to go from one opportunity or one transaction to the next transaction to the next transaction, and it's not going to help you really build your business long term. And referrals, though many of those might be coming from word of mouth, they're not in a specific type of system really. And so that's the biggest pain point, right? The biggest challenge is the less than 10% of realtors across the country they don't do very well. And the majority of realtors, they do only $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, if that. But we can fix that so that you can spend the majority of your time really honing in and really focused on what makes you good, which is, quite frankly, your people, right? You understand people. So what do we have to do to change this thing? What do we have to really do to make technology work for us and for us to understand, hey, maybe I should spend 5, 6, or 7 hours a week building this little component of my very important life? Well, we have to think outside the business box, but we also have to think a little smarter on operations and technology. And we really have to thoroughly understand what's possible for us and what's not possible for us. And believe me, it can be scary, right? It's like I have the CRM and my brokerage is forcing me to use this, and it's so complicated. You have different buttons here and there and everywhere. And that can be a really big challenge, and I get it. But there's some simple tactics that you can use to really win the game here, and I'm excited to dive in. So what does that really look like? Right? At the end of the day, what does it look like for realtors to win this game? Well, I'll give you a tip right now. Virtual tours and chatbots. And I know virtual tours can be a little bit of a headache to set up, but once you do, imagine the marketability of that virtual tour. And think for a second, you have the virtual tour, and then on your website or on Facebook, you have a chatbot, and that chatbot has some rules. And let's say that chatbot asks a couple of questions about the person that is interacting with it, namely your potential client. And that potential client tells your chatbot, hey, my name is Sally, and I'm 34 years old. I'm recently married. I have a dog, and I'm looking for a really good school district because I'm expecting. Now, your chatbot can tag Sally according to the specifications that you have and automatically say, hey, Sally, well, I right now have a couple of listings that you might want to check out and you might want to try. Here are a couple of links. Link number 1, number 2, number 3. Where would you like me to email these links to? And then you have a follow-up system for Sally. Now, it seems a little complicated to set up, and it might take you a couple hours, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And more specifically, if you do this, just imagine the amount of productivity that you would now get back in your life, right? Like, you'd be a heck of a lot more productive, and you spend less time on unqualified leads and more time on qualified leads that will not only generate more revenue for you, but you can create more value and impact for. And that's the only thing behind technology, right? We talk about this idea of artificial intelligence, and, Terminator back in the day talks about Skynet and, robots are going to take over. That's not going to happen anytime soon. We're not even building that kind of stuff. The tech and the technology I'm talking about is very simple. If the biggest takeaway you got from this presentation was to combine virtual tours and chatbots, you would be 99% ahead of everybody else. And if you had that white glove service to follow up with everybody, with these potential clients that are now coming through your messaging system, your chatbot, your technology, guess who wins the game? That's right. I'm staring right at you, right? You're winning the game at this point. Or should we just create a Facebook page because everybody else has a Facebook page and you go to Fiverr.com and you create a nice little logo and you just blast out spammy messages on Facebook? Does that really make sense? No, of course not. Right? That's not creating the white glove service. You don't get to know anything about your clients or customers. And quite frankly, at this point, you might as well go buy Bitcoin, right? You might as well just be throwing your money away. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge fan of Bitcoin. I do like blockchain technologies. If you want to have that conversation later, feel free to get in touch with me. But Bitcoin in general, you might as well invest in that and just not do any kind of tech upgrades to your business. So if you have a specific path to follow, I feel you're going to win the game. So let's talk about a couple of things, okay? Let's talk about a couple of different things that are really required in your business. There are three components to any real business and any long-term sustainable business, and that's people, process, and product. Now, that's not my saying. That's Mark Simonis from CNBC. He's the host of the show called The Profit. And I love this idea that for any business to be long-term and to be sustainable and to be profitable, we have to have the right people. In this case, that's you. You have to have the right product. Well, in this case, we know what we're selling. And quite frankly, y'all are experts in that. And number three, you need to have the process. And so when I talk about process, I really mean technology. And technology can be really intricate. It can be really dynamic. It can be really complicated. Or you can just make it really simple. And that's my goal. That's the objective today. And like I said, if all you did was take a virtual tour and a chatbot and coupled those together, you've won the game. But there are a few more tweaks that you can really make here to take that productivity and light it on fire. So I've interviewed top producers, and I have a podcast called the Think Realty Podcast, and I interview top producers, top real estate agents around the country, along with different economists, et cetera. And there's one thing there are a couple of things that I know that every top producing real estate agent has in common. My definition of top producing real estate agent is if you make $100,000 a year as a real estate agent. There are a couple of things. Number one, you're going to spend 6 times the amount of money that the average real estate agent does on technology. Number two, you're going to spend 10 times the amount of money on marketing. Okay, and that's Google ads, that's Facebook ads, that's SEO-driven marketing, that might be YouTube pre-roll ads, that might be Instagram boosting your posts, that kind of stuff. So top producers are spending 10 times the amount on marketing. But you know what they're not doing? Just take a wild guess. It's right in front of you in black and red. They're only connecting with their potential clients only a few times a year, and they're only adding basic value. So let's put on our technology hats for a second. If we had technology working for us and serving us, can't we tell the technology to reach out to these people automatically like this every single week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, or maybe once every 3 weeks? And many of you might be thinking, well, okay, that's just an email campaign. That's part of it. But you can also, based on behavior of the person that's receiving the email, adjust your message. That's what top producers are not doing today. And what I know a lot of real estate agents are not doing today, they're not touching on their customers. They're not dripping content on their customers, hyper-specific content on their customers, more than maybe 2 or 3 times. But you and I both know how many times it takes to communicate with somebody before they say yes. Think of that number in your head right now. Is that number 5? Is that number 7? Is that number, right? It's that number 7. And in this world where buyers and sellers have choices, how are you going to be different? So let's think about that for a second. So in the chat window, when you have a minute, how many times are you, there are 2 questions, 2-part question. How many times are you following up with your potential client or customer? And then / how many times do you think you need to follow up with them? So in the chat window, when you have a second, when you've mulled it over, let me know how many times are you currently following up with them versus how many times do you know you need to follow up with them? Do that now. You got 30 seconds here. I wish I had that Jeopardy little jingle. I think that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. I used to also sing Sinatra back in the day in middle school. So I don't know. I could maybe do that. Da, 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 da. All right, getting a couple in here. I got a couple questions too. Awesome. So Mohammed, I'm picking on you, man. 0 and 0. Oh, okay. You could benefit the most from this presentation, man. Okay. Once a month with email campaigns, not enough, Edwin, but okay. That's a good start. Quarterly. Julie Chan, quarterly. You're losing out on so much opportunity. And so Julie, here's a question for you. The messaging that you're putting out there, is it kind of a copy and paste message like what I'll get in the wintertime on how to winterize my toilets? Or is it like really hyper specific to your client? I want you to answer that question. Vincent, 3 to 4 times a year. Okay, so kind of quarterly. Julie, okay, Julie, so you're doing it specifically. Good. Sanford, weekly every month. Weekly every month. So, okay, Got it. So once a week, roughly every single month. Awesome. So we know kind of what to do, right? Like I saw to you, Mohammed, I'm going to be picking on you this entire presentation. This is going to be great. But if we're not being hyper specific, then you can understand what's happening here. And we're losing the game. And guess what's happening? Even the top producers are losing the game. So how do we benefit? How do we win? That's going to be interesting to kind of figure out here. So you want to become a top producer using one specific equation, okay? One specific, and Mohammed, you just said never ever contacted anyone my whole life. Well, all right. You've got to be a new agent then. So if you are, say yes. If you're not, then we've got to talk about your entire communication issues. Told you, I'm picking on you. So there's one equation that we've got to work on. But before we get to that, we have to build trust with our potential clients and customers, right? That's the one thing that we've got to focus on. And one of my really good friends, his name's Charlie Green. He wrote a book called The Trusted Advisor. Highly recommend that you pick it up from Amazon. And he talks about this trust equation. It's the trust formula. And that's C plus R plus I divided by S. That equals the amount of trust that you have with somebody. C stands for credibility. R stands for reliability. I stands for intimacy. And I'm not talking about that kind of intimacy, okay? I'm talking about how closely you know somebody. Would you know their wife, their husband, their kids, their dog? Are you communicating with them on a regular basis? And that's the numerator. The denominator is self-orientation. So how often are you constantly selling your services to these people, to your potential clients or customers, without offering the credibility, without being reliable, and without really digging into their life, into their world? So that's how you build trust. So the higher the numerator, the smaller the denominator, you have a higher trust factor. Okay, and in this specific case, you want the C, the credibility, reliability, and intimacy to be at an all-time high. So the first step is to understand how to build trust. And then we can get to the technology. So Aweber has a really awesome diagram of what they think and what they've modeled a funnel to look like. And normally we're accustomed to the top-down funnel, right? It looks like a funnel, and it's going to start with awareness, and then it goes to consideration, and et cetera. Here it goes from left to right. It starts with awareness, and then it goes to consideration, conversion, loyalty, and then they're going to rebuy. So let's take a look at very specifically what it means to win in the awareness game. Okay, what does it mean to win the awareness of our potential clients and customers? Well, if you're like Mohammed, or if you're like Julie, if you're like Mohammed, really start to create some good content around this. I love that Julie is being very specific and intentional with the type of information that she's putting out to the world. Right? So awareness. Awareness means we are putting out good intel about the Long Island area, about New York, about the community that you serve. And you're putting this information out, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I highly recommend LinkedIn, number 5. LinkedIn is heavily underutilized by many, many real estate agents across the country. So if you start using LinkedIn, start doing the right tags and the hashtags, you'll really win the game. Once you have your potential clients and customers aware of who you are and alive in the event, in the case of some of the attendees, right? Once they know you're alive and you're putting out good information, then you need to kind of figure out what's really important to them. And HubSpot did a really awesome survey, and they said, here's the driver of marketing success, right? Because technology follows what you're doing online. Technology can only play a really vital role if you have the awareness captured of the people that you want to market to and that are in your now scope and in your ecosystem. So HubSpot is telling me that the customer experience with me, that white glove service, is 84% more relevant, right? It's 84% relevant. That's the number one thing that your clients are looking for, is customer experience. Then it's brand management, then data analytics. So all y'all that are paying for all the likes on Facebook, that's like number 3. Social media marketing, that's bottom of the barrel, right? They don't even really care about that as much as they do the customer experience. And you know that because you're dealing with people, right? You're dealing with people. So how do we close the gap, right? So we saw that funnel where you have you've got awareness and then you've got consideration. How do you close the awareness and consideration gap? And I think we've kind of talked about that. I think what Julie's doing is spot on. providing very specific information to people, but also not killing yourself to do it. Right? It's one thing to go completely ham on social media and start posting every day and twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, and think everybody thinks you're a crazy person on LinkedIn because you're just in their feed all the time. You don't have to do that. You can take a little bit of time on the weekend, maybe 30 minutes, to schedule some of the critical information about the New York market, about the Long Island market, and use 2 tools that I absolutely love. And there are many other tools out there. These are just recommendations. You can use Buffer or Hootsuite to schedule your tools, schedule your tweets, or schedule your posts on exactly what you're talking about. Now, the other component to a good post is having a really good call to action. Don't just share an article. Really give your insights into an article that you read. Or if, say, Julie thought that there was a very interesting thing that was happening in her local community, maybe writing a paragraph on that, sharing supporting articles, and then saying, hey, what do you guys think? Get in touch, shoot me a DM or shoot me a message on LinkedIn. So one of the things to draw that awareness is to make you the squeakiest tool in the shed. Right? The squeakiest tool gets the most oil and gets the most attention, right? And if you do this using a social media marketing calendar, like the one here, you can really win the game. And you're now leveraging technology, right? You're using Hootsuite or a Buffer, and in this case, Google Sheets, to create an automated process that you can follow every single week so that you're not killing yourself when you're at a showing on your phone trying to hashtag and tweet and do all sorts of stuff when you should be paying attention to your clients, right? So this is something that you can start to incorporate once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week into your calendar that now you're receiving the benefit from. And while you're out at a showing and when you're signing closing docs, or when your buyer sellers signing closing docs, and you're there giving them the most confidence in the world that they're doing the right thing because you know from the bottom of your heart they are, your technology is handling all the posting for you. So I want to just kind of open it up for quick questions. If you have any questions about Hootsuite, Buffer, Google Sheets, on how you can schedule some of your posts online, now is the time to ask those questions. I'll give you about 30 seconds. I know sometimes it's a little bit of a complicated topic, and sometimes it's also really difficult to figure out what you want to put out there, or maybe get into a groove to schedule some of the stuff. Maybe you have a lot going on, right? I know for me, I'll wake up at 5 and my morning starts at 7, and then I'm running all day and I have sometimes no time to do that. But Hootsuite and Buffer make it really easy to just spend maybe 15 or 20 minutes and schedule those tweets and schedule these things that really matter. So I'll be looking at the chat here in just a second, but I want to keep trucking forward. That's how you close the awareness consideration gap. Okay, you want to bring them to your ecosystem, to your sphere of influence, and let them know that you are somebody that understands the market, you control it, you get the knowledge, you're the best person for it, and you're providing them really high quality, specific custom information, just like Julie over here. Okay, great question from Sanford Herman. Should we be posting on personal or business Facebook pages? If you have a business Facebook page, certainly post on that. I'm not a huge fan of posting on my personal page, maybe once every week, because I don't want to blast out like to all my friends. When I think about Facebook, I think about a hi. When I think about Facebook business page, I'm thinking, it's kind of like a fist bump, not a formal handshake. I would absolutely leverage LinkedIn. For Facebook specifically, I mean, if you post every day or every other day to your Facebook business page, I think that's okay. I think maybe once every couple of days, share your business page's post to your personal page and write a comment and say, hey, I just wrote this article, or hey, I found this article very interesting. Go check it out on my business page, because you want the attention directed there, okay? So let's talk about consideration. The next step in the funnel, consideration. Now here's a funny fact. 3 in 4 Americans admit to using their phone while on the toilet. I know I'm probably one of these people, but I bring this up because everybody has their phone everywhere. We're so addicted to it all the time, right? I want to know, I want more of it. Like, I need more screens in front of me, right? It's no longer this. I want all the information. How do I get all the, but that's how it is. And so we'll take our phones everywhere we go. And the technology that now we're going to start talking about lies on your phone. So if you can use your phone, if you could use your client's phone to your benefit, should you? And I think the absolute answer to that is yes. So there are a couple of tools that you can use to really capture and motivate your client while they're on their phone to take advantage of maybe any potential offers you have, maybe some good one-on-one FaceTime, maybe an event that you're throwing to learn more about the market. Whatever that looks like, use their phone. Everything's mobile right now. So these technologies are very, very useful when you're marketing to people on mobile. Number one, Active Campaign. It's an email marketing CRM system. And all of these I highly recommend. Number two is Aweber. You can also use MailChimp. That's an email marketing service. Number three is Zapier. Zapier, think of it as if you need to do something, then have Zapier do something else. It does a really good job of connecting the dots. If you're using Google Sheets, Zapier can take the data from Google Sheets and say, move it over to Aweber for a marketing email series, okay? Zapier is a little complicated, but I want to give this information to you so at least you can start doing your homework on how to use Zapier. And then if you have any questions, absolutely feel free to get in touch. The other two pieces of tech that I recommend that you take a look at is something called TarsBot and ManyChat. And we'll talk about TarsBot and ManyChat in a second, but the point of this slide is to help you all understand that these are technologies that are really easy to use once you get the hang of it, and you can leverage your time the right way when you have these integrated into your overall flow. Closing the gap from consideration to conversion is, quite frankly, the biggest obstacle that any real estate agent has. So I'm going to give you a formula, okay? And I haven't forgot about that one equation. So we're getting to the equation, and there's a reason why I did a little crash course in marketing first, because that's part of the equation. But I want you to follow along here. On this slide, we've got Facebook, ManyChat, and Active Campaign. This is the second takeaway. If you stop watching this right now, this is the second thing you need to just commit to memory. Facebook, ManyChat, Active Campaign. Facebook is a really good way to start connecting, if you haven't already, but start connecting with clients and customers that are interested in buying or selling a home. Would you agree? Nod your head. Yes is the right answer, right? Yes or yes. Now, if you're on a business page like Sanford, what you can do, the benefit that you have with the business page is you can create a chatbot on your Facebook business page and drive your clients to your Facebook business page. The chatbot that you can install is called ManyChat. So you don't have to pay developers hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to do this. And believe me, I know, I own a software company, and it is obnoxious how much other companies will charge to develop these things. You don't have to do any of that. Go to ManyChat and get a starter chatbot for you to easily install on your Facebook page. Now, remember at the beginning, we talked about how you can get information from Sally. She's 34 years old. She has a dog, married recently, and she's expecting, and she has a job. You can ask these questions in ManyChat to your Facebook users. You following? They input their information, and that information then goes directly to Active Campaign, and you throw them into a hyper-specific, just like Julie, a hyper-specific email campaign that nurtures them, that sends them emails every other week for the rest of the year. If there's nothing else in this presentation that you commit to memory or you commit to taking action on, it should be this. It should be ManyChat and Active Campaign. That's going to drive your business forward, and that's going to help you use technology and filter out the noise and the riffraff to your benefit, okay? Here's what ManyChat looks like. When you get if you get an account on ManyChat, and again, ManyChat is my preferred thing. You can use TarsBot as well. There are a lot of other chatbots that you can use. But if you check out the screen in front of you, it tells you can customize it. Welcome first name. That's Sally, or I'll pick on Mohammed, right? Welcome, Mohammed. Thanks for reaching out. I look forward to speaking with you. Until I can get back, here are a couple of options. And what you can do with ManyChat is you can create different buttons they can click on. So you can say, hey, I want to schedule a call. Do you see where it says schedule a call on the screen in front of you? You can schedule a call. And when they click schedule a call, you can open up a new website, and that goes to your booking link on Calendly or your CRM's phone call booking link. How cool is that? And so now there's no email back and forth, right? I can't stand all the emails. And then God forbid the emails go to spam. And then you're going back and forth with now a seller that's frustrated because his or her email went to spam, right? I'd rather kill myself trying to think about this. So that's one option. If you have some tips that you want to give about the Long Island real estate market, then they can click on real estate tips, and you can say, hey, here's number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And by the way, by simply engaging with the chatbot, you have already now captured Sally's phone, their not phone number, but their Sally's first name, last name, and email address, and any other information that Facebook says it's okay to share, and that Sally says it's okay to share. This is so powerful. That means now I don't even have to opt Sally into any email. I can go directly to ActiveCampaign and start sending her emails once a quarter. See, that's a trick question, right? It's not once a quarter. it's like once every other week. So ManyChat really gives you the ability to ask specific questions, to segment and polarize your potential leads. And there's no shame in polarizing, right? Because the way that you talk to Sally, who's 35, 34 years old, is different than the pitch that you're going to give Jane or Joe, who's 65 years old, right? So that's really important to me as somebody that's a real estate agent in Long Island, because now I'm talking about two totally different types of people, potentially two different spends and budgets. So start thinking about that. What this is showing you now is you can integrate ManyChat, just what I said earlier, you can integrate ManyChat with ActiveCampaign. You can kind of like have the two talk to each other essentially. And you can do so many amazing things with ManyChat. It's amazing. So you can have an email series. Okay, you can have an email series, you can build your pipeline, etc. So do me a favor, take the next 30 seconds and I'm going to plug my laptop in for just a second and tell me how you're going to start using ManyChat. Like, what are some of the questions that you can ask in ManyChat on Facebook to your clients and customers that would help you out tremendously? Give me those questions now. Give me 30 seconds. All right, so yes, absolutely, you're gonna get the slideshow. In fact, you're gonna get the entire recording emailed to you, okay? You'll get the entire recording emailed to you. That's not even an issue, because I know sometimes I talk fast, but I gotta talk fast for you New Yorkers, all right? Like, y'all get it, y'all pick it up. I got it, not a problem. So a couple of questions, I'm looking for a couple questions now. A couple questions that you're going to ask your Facebook audience. What would you like to know about them when they interact with your new chatbot? I want to know it. I want to know it. And then we'll get into some of these different pipelines that you can build. Mohammed, great. You got to start using it. You absolutely start using it. When do you plan to buy? Vincent, that's a fantastic question, right? Because why waste your time with people that are interested in buying 12, say, months from now, a year from now? But what you can do is you can tell your chatbot, ManyChat, to tell ActiveCampaign to place them in a 1-year automation. Do you see? Do you own a home? Awesome. Sanford, hey, my great client, hope your family are doing well. Please provide me with your areas of interest, price ranges, bedrooms, bathrooms. So do you see now how we can be hyper specific and we can know so much more about Sally before even picking up the phone? Because now this just empowers us. Now we're using technology to empower us to have a closer conversation and develop that intimacy, credibility, reliability with these people that are reaching out to us. And keep in mind, you don't have to only do this on Facebook. You can do this on your website. So if you have, say, mohammedtariq.com or juliechan.com or your real estate agent website, you can have a little chatbot on the lower right-hand side that says, hey, take the first step, give me a call. These are great. I mean, I love these responses. Marcia, get pre-approval today to see if you qualify to buy. Heck yeah. So if you combine a couple of these questions, now you are automatically qualifying these people and prioritizing them to see who makes the most sense based on your specialty. Isn't that awesome? And you can do this automatically. You spend a couple of hours, you invest the time to set it up now for future benefit. It's incredible. So here's something that the next automation is what I want to spend a little bit of time on is a home assessment. Right? That's a really good starting point for a lot of sellers. Hey, you know what? I want a home assessment. Tell me what my home is worth. This way, you can generate leads, you can develop marketing strategies, now you're building closer relationships. And what you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen, the entire flow chart, is from Active Campaign. So what you're seeing at the top is what the trigger is, and the trigger for you would be ManyChat. And then it goes into the first question. Does the contact match any of the following conditions? Those are the conditions we are just specifying, right? Like the questions that you're asking me right now, the questions here in the webinar chat. And then if they meet the conditions, if contact is 24 to 35 years old, then send them to the left. If the contact is 60 to 75, send them to the right. This is an incredible way to do this automatically. And you can do this across any number of different ideas that you have. A home assessment, you can do this with first-time home buyers, right? If you're working with a first-time home buyer, you can ask them, what are some of the initial questions that you ask them? Just tell them to go to the website or just tell them to say, hey, I have a bunch of questions for you. Do me a favor, go to facebook.com/juliechan or facebook.com/mohammedtariq and fill out my little questionnaire and I'll get right back in touch with you inside of 24 hours. Even though it might take you 72 hours, your chatbot and Active Campaign are actively emailing them on your behalf without you having to do anything. And I think that's fantastic. And that's how we're using technology to really enhance the business that we have. So I get it, right? Technology is super scary, but it's not really. I'll give out my information in a second. We're about wrapped up. I do want to make sure that we have time for Q&A here in about 6 minutes, okay? So when I started down this path and working with real estate agents, there was one major concern. Abhi, this is going to take a lot of time to put together. And it's really scary. And I don't know what API is. I hate computers. I don't know what's going on. My CRM is really like clunking up my day. And I just spend a lot of time doing paperwork. Well, let me tell you something. If you want to build a business for the long term, and if you want to close more deals, and if you want to become a top producer, and if you want to beat out some of the top producers that are not following what I'm suggesting and showing you in this presentation, you're going to get left behind. It's that simple. But I'm here to tell you it's not scary, right? And I hope you can also understand that from a high level, if you connect Facebook to Active Campaign, and you can hire somebody on Upwork.com, for example, to write your email copy, I think you're in really good shape, and you'd be kicking so much butt. It would be great. So it's not scary. In fact, get used to it because it's your friend, and it can really make your life a lot easier than what it might be right now. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to build a business here, not a job. And building a business means that you're in front of your clients and you're spending and investing the time with the clients that you need to put your focus on. I'm a guy. I can't even multitask, right? Like my wife, she can multitask. She can fry an egg. She can paint the ceiling, have a conversation with her mother-in-law, and do all of these things and yell at me all at the same time. But I can't multitask, right? So if I had 25, I can't even do what y'all do, right? If I had 25 clients that I'm speaking to, I would be so consumed in that every single day. But if and that's just me creating a job 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And, you know, God forbid you have a client that's a diva like me that says, I want to do all of these things and I want to interview you, right, before we go down this road. You don't need any of that. All of that can just be released out. If you put some of these nuggets in place on the tech side, I feel like you'll really do yourself a good job and a good pat on the back by building a business. At the end of the day, I'm still betting on the United States long term. There's a lot of stuff. We talk about the distraction, right? I only talked about the work distraction. Forget about all the other distractions that we have going on in the world today. You know, I'm a firm believer that the United States of America is the best place to invest. And as a real estate investor, I'm not going to go anywhere else. And neither should your first-time home buyers, not should your, you know, repeat home buyers. The market is positioned to come back. And it's not like long-term, the United States of America, we're going up. So if there's any shred of that doubt, if there's anything that's stopping you from believing that, let me tell you, don't believe any of the stuff that you hear or see or anything. In every single, even if you take a look at 2008, 2009, the single greatest recession that we've had in the country, the real estate market rebounded after that. So I'm still betting on the United States long term, and more specifically, I'm betting on the real estate market, and I'm betting on real estate agents like you to help us navigate through it by giving me the confidence to continue to invest in the cities and in the states that I do. So remember that equation that I told you? Vincent, I got you on some of these questions that are coming up in just a second. The one equation, we talked about a lot today, but the one equation that I highly, highly, highly recommend, the third thing that you have to know from this presentation is this. If you want to screenshot it, go for it. Content marketing. So that's the awareness component, right? We've got the awareness, consideration, and then conversion. The awareness component, the content marketing, the information that you're putting out to your audience or the world so that they can also raise their hand when you raise their hand and say, I need help finding I need help finding a place to buy, or I need help selling my place. That kind of information, get it out there. That's the content marketing piece. That plus the chatbot, prioritization, adding that structure to your line of questioning to your buyer or seller, plus a re-nurture campaign that you can write inside of 7 days by hiring somebody on Upwork.com, and then you can hire somebody else to implement that on ActiveCampaign. And you now have a complete end-to-end 1 year series of emails for different buckets of people connected to Facebook, connected to the chatbot on your website without you having to lift a finger until those leads become a priority for you. How does that sound? And if you're looking for more of a flow, I'm happy to share all of this. I'm in the process now of creating an automation in ActiveCampaign. So if you want to see that, I'm happy to do a quick little walkthrough video. But get to know some of the technologies that I mentioned in this presentation. And I really, really, really feel from the bottom of my heart that they will absolutely serve you to the best and fullest, to build your business and not just build a job, and to realize that technology is not scary and that you can use it to really lever up your business and go become the top producer, whether it's making several $100,000 a year or several $1 million a year. You don't have to run around in chaos. You can have the technology do everything for you. Okay, maybe not everything, maybe 90% of it. And you can just focus on the top 10, the top 20% of items that you really, really feel are a better investment of your time instead of shuffling around paperwork. Who hears me? All right. So that's my information. That's my email, abhi@abhigolhar.com. I recently just started up my YouTube channel again. I cleaned the slate, so I'll be offering a lot of great information there. You can find me anywhere on social media as well. And Marianne, I think we have about 13, 14 minutes for questions. and I'm all ears. You can ask me really anything about technology, about content marketing, Facebook ads. If you want to talk about the market and where I feel that's going to be, we can talk about that too. But I would love to talk about technology because that's the large component of what we're here for today. But I am all ears. So I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. But I really want to give Marianne a huge thank you and shout out for having me here today and kind of sharing some of my thoughts about how technology can better serve you and how not scary it can ultimately be. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters, right? For everybody to be that much more productive and that much more profitable, because then it's just going to bring a smile to your face and to mine too. So cool. I'm excited to answer some questions. Drop them in the chat. I think there's also a Q&A section here as well.
There is, Abby. I'm looking
it.
at the Q&A, and we have something here. What do you mean by marketing calendar? Is it like Google Calendar?
So let me go back to that slide here. Marketing calendar. So a marketing calendar it's something that, exactly. And I'm happy to share this spreadsheet link with anybody that wants it. But a marketing calendar, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing more than a guide that you use to create ideas on what you want to post online and create a calendar on when you're going to post them. So for example, we have, I think Father's Day coming up or 4th of July coming up, obviously. So we have these major things coming up. Create an infographic around the 4th of July and use a marketing calendar to remind yourself and your team of how and when to deploy and schedule these posts on Buffer or Hootsuite, so that it's on your Twitter, it posts to your Instagram automatically without you having to lift a finger. So a marketing calendar just helps you organize your thoughts and create posts out of them, and then post them on of course, your social media platforms. It's the single best way to organize your thoughts, especially if you have a big team that's working with you.
Great. Hopefully that answered the question. Does sound like it did.
Yeah.
Can the cost of active campaign and many chats?
Yes. So the cost of many chats, it's, oh my gosh, you're going to love this. Okay. The cost of ManyChat, their basic starter level, it's no more than like $20 or $25 a month. I think quite frankly, it might be even $10 a month, if I remember correctly. But it is so worth it to set it up. Active campaign for the first couple hundred subscribers, it's $70 a month. But don't be scared of that, because it is a powerhouse of an automation. So if we scroll back to this guy here, to this presentation here, my screen's just still up. There's no other email CRM like ActiveCampaign that can help you really understand where people are in the process and re-nurture them. So if they have not clicked an email, you can send them an email saying, hey, Lisa, I noticed you hadn't clicked this email yet. Here's some more information that I think you might like. It's so powerful, and it is so worth the $70 a month. Mm-hmm. So definitely go check that out.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And let's see. How would you suggest getting people to your Facebook page to start engaging with them?
Two things. Number one, if you have any kind of marketing collateral, whether it's a book or whether it's an infographic, maybe even a quick little market study of your area, and really offer value to Facebook groups around your area. So one of my hacks is I'll write a case study, and I will market that case study to every group around Atlanta on Facebook. But not just be spammy about it, but say, hey everybody, my name is Abhi Golhar, and I found this amazing property, and here's the story behind it, and I'll really go into detail, and I'll write a couple paragraphs in the post, and I'll say I would love to connect with everybody about it. Here's the best way to do that. Here's my business Facebook page. If you want to connect with me via email, you can do that too, but go check me out here. The more value we offer somebody, the higher the likelihood it is that they will actually say, whoa, like Marianne, this was amazing information. Thank you so much. How do I you went above and beyond. How do I get in touch? And that's the kind of conversation that you want to have. You can also pay for it. Or you could also do Facebook leads or Facebook ads. You'll have to really target the long tail keywords for that. And you'll also have to really hone in on your audience. So unless you have a sizable marketing budget, maybe stick to the other Facebook group method as well.
Great. Let's see, do we have another minute? Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about this app, Chatbot, Chatbot app?
The Chatbot app?
Do you know?
I don't know about that one specifically. I'm looking it up on my phone. So Chatbots, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's an iPhone thing. So any chatbot that you're looking for or looking to deploy and implement, it should have a responsive feature, obviously. But the other thing that you're really looking for, another secret here, so I'm glad you asked that question. Another secret that you're really looking for in a chatbot is, can it talk to another CRM? Can it take the information that it's collecting and send it to, say, in this case, ActiveCampaign? Because where you build awareness is Chatbot. Where you build conversion is ActiveCampaign. Because now you're hitting them and you're dripping on them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times throughout the year. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. And I think there were a few more questions on the webinar chat. Marianne, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I know we have a few more minutes. So Vincent, there are a couple of questions here. What are the top 3 CRM packages? So there are a couple, and it depends on how expensive you want to get, okay? ActiveCampaign by itself is considered an email marketing CRM, but they're better at email marketing than they are a CRM. Here's the thing though, for real estate agents and for realtors, you don't really need the CRM component of ActiveCampaign to be wildly successful. What you're looking for is a surgical automation approach. That's what you want. And the other thing that you want is when you click on a lead, let's say you find this person on the screen in front of you, and they're somewhere in this funnel. You want to be able to click that person's name, pull up the information, and see the intake information that the chatbot sent over. ActiveCampaign does that sufficiently well, and it goes beyond what anything else can do for you. So I wouldn't even be concerned about the CRM component of it. Right? People think CRM is like this big clunky thing. You don't even need one. I'm the guy that's saying you don't even need a CRM. I'm the only person saying that in the country. Right? What you need is an automation workflow that's going to help you convert on your people. A CRM won't do that. A CRM just houses information. Right? It's called a customer relationship management tool for a reason. It just houses information. But the way in which you drip on them and how you measure conversion and how you retarget them, how do you pixel them, how do you send them to different ads, that's where ActiveCampaign comes in. So that's that question. Let's see here. You got it, Vincent. Automation email campaign, how to start it, Mohammed. So I should probably do, what I'll do, Marianne, is I'll see if I can do like a quick little training on ActiveCampaign.
Oh, that would be great. And I know everybody's asking for the slides.
Yeah.
Which I know you said you would generously share.
Of course.
Thank you.
And I know y'all are recording this as well, so they'll get the recording too. Sure, so if you have a question, I'll give you my cell, that's not a problem. Feel free to text me though, it's probably the best way to do it. And I'll throw it in here. That's my cell.
That's real generous.
Yeah, 678-561-4458. Definitely get in touch if you have any questions about this, because I know it's really complicated sometimes to understand, and I hope I did a good enough job in simplifying that and like taking it to a high level bird's eye view. But there are a couple of components that you'll have to really focus in on. But don't let that scare you from using it. It's going to take an extra hour or two, but I promise it'll be worth it.
Thank you so very much.
Of course.
Great information. I have to tell everyone, when I reached out to Abhi in minutes, he stepped up and said, absolutely, how can I help? And, here we are today. So I thank you very much, and I hope that our paths will cross real soon.
Absolutely. Marianne, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And thank you, John, for setting all this up and being the tech genius that you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Abhi. Stay safe and well.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.